Yo, 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 what's cracking, everybody? So today I'm coming in with a real special video for you guys who are trying to record your vocal takes at home. Now, if you've put together your fair share of homemade songs, you're probably all too familiar with the feeling of it coming out pretty good for a bedroom track, but just not at that professional level of quality that you hear in studio recordings. I know that I've been there with a whole bunch of my previous releases. It's that feeling where you just hear the vocals and you're like, yeah, it sounds all right, but it could be so much better. So then I would go and try to use a whole bunch of different mixing techniques and random effects to try to make the vocals sound better, but then it just kind of ends up sounding over processed. Usually what this situation comes down to is the dry vocal take that you're working with, not the mixing. The actual vocal recording itself is way more important than whatever effects you're trying to put on it afterwards to make it sound better. So if your recording techniques are not yet fully optimized for whatever room you're in, your vocals are gonna suffer. A good comparison I could think of is trying to run a marathon with a sprained ankle. You could be the best runner in the world, but if you don't address the sprained ankle first, you're probably not gonna win the race. You don't wanna let your messed up starting point hold you back from reaching your fullest potential. So the next question is, what exactly can we do to fix this? Now, I don't know about you, but I don't have like a Neve console and a multi-million-dollar recording studio just attached to my house. I got a bedroom, some basic audio recording equipment, and a laptop. However, despite these disadvantages, there are some key techniques that I deploy to try to get the best take possible. And all of these are gonna begin with analyzing the room that you're in. So the first thing you'll probably notice about this recording room is that there is no acoustic treatment whatsoever. It's just 4 flat walls and a flat ceiling. Thankfully, there's at least a carpet on the ground, which can absorb a little bit of the sound. Now, if you have the ability to buy some acoustic treatment, it definitely can make a difference. Even just like some foam panels on Amazon can help a little bit. The main goal with this low budget style of acoustic treatment is not to make the room soundproof. This is a huge misconception. You don't need the room to be soundproof. You're just buying foam to make it so that way there's less reverberation in the room and the sound isn't bouncing off of the walls as much. The room that I'm working in is just loaded with right angles and hard surfaces, and this is just going to create a whole bunch of sonic reflections that are going to get picked up by my microphone. So even though I haven't actually gotten around to doing it yet, if I were to just put up some foam panels in the corners, it's going to limit the amount of right angles that are present in the room, which is going to enhance the sound of my recordings. Now, most houses are going to be built with rectangular shaped rooms, but if you have like an attic, a closet, just any place that has very few right angles in its design, that's going to be a better place for recording. And that mostly just has to do with the way sound reflects off of those surfaces. But you also want to take into account how reflective the surfaces are. So like if you walk into your garage and it doesn't happen to have many right angles, but you say something and it echoes a bunch, that's not going to be a good room for recording. So now the next factor you want to consider when you're trying to improve your recordings is the microphone that you use. There's a big debate as to whether you should use a dynamic or a condenser microphone for your vocals. And most people, they're going to argue that you should use the condenser. You know, they're usually fancier, they're usually more expensive, and they usually result in a better sound. Condenser microphones are usually a lot more sensitive, which is going to really allow them to pick up the richness in a person's voice and like all the little details and inflections in their vocal tone. However, all of that is going to change when you're working in a suboptimal recording room. Even though that condenser microphone might be great for picking up the richness in a person's voice, it's also going to be great at picking up all of the reflections and little bits of room noise going on in the background. And if you happen to live with other people, any sound going on outside of your recording room is likely to be picked up as well. This is a lesson that I kind of learned the hard way. I went out and I purchased an AT4040 condenser microphone, which is the same one I'm using to record this video right now. And I was under the assumption that just having a condenser microphone was going to automatically improve the quality of my vocals. Later on though, I was like shocked to realize that my old recording microphone, my Shure SM58, was actually much better for the room that I was working in. The Shure SM58 is a much less sensitive dynamic microphone, and it only really picks up sound super close to the mic head, so that made it so it wasn't really capturing much of that room noise. And this could be a good or a bad thing. If you're working in an excellent room that has awesome reverb and great acoustics, then you may want a condenser microphone to pick up that room noise. But I'm not. I'm working in a bedroom, so the Shure SM58 was just way better. So all I really needed to do was just adjust my mixing practices a little bit to work with the new microphone's sound, and it ended up leading to me having way better vocal takes. This can be heard on my newest song titled Time in a Fishbowl. There's going to be a link in the description. All the vocals on that song were recorded in this room using a Shure SM58.
Auxiliary.
face of almost no pain is sliding me to escape.
A little bit of a hit or miss in the fishbowl, where this soul could get lost in his glow. The fake stuck in the ways, but he's missing his days. The rock stealing his game, he's got his wins though. To siege the tallest walls and make them fall and crumble all around my head.
The next factor that you're going to want to consider is the audio interface that you are using. I have a Scarlett 2i2 interface, which is a pretty solid option, which kind of like rides the border between a low budget audio interface and a really high quality preamp. This is honestly like not even a debate. I used to use this little $40 Behringer UM2, and hey, no shade on Behringer as a company, but the UM2 is just not competing with something like a Scarlett. I'm sure they make better, more high quality audio interfaces, but that specific one, which is like the cheapest one on the market, is just really not going to cut it. You really can't go wrong by upgrading your audio interface or your preamp. It's going to drastically improve the quality of your recordings as long as you get the right one for the job. Just be sure to do some good, thorough research on any expensive audio equipment you plan to buy, so that way you are 100% certain that what you're purchasing is going to fit your needs. So the final point I want to touch on in today's video is going to be microphone positioning. After you analyze the room you're in, you're going to want to set the microphone up in a way that is best suited for that room. If there's a certain corner or area of the room that's very reflective, face the back of the microphone towards that area so you get as little of that reflection as possible. If a family member that you're living with is like watching TV in the other room or something, first, you should probably pick a better time to record. But if you have to do it now, just use common sense, face the back of the microphone towards that room with the TV on. A solid trick that I've actually discovered in this room that I'm in is facing the microphone up high and actually positioning it downward towards the floor. I set it up so that way the back of the microphone is facing this one really reflective corner in my room, and the front of the microphone is facing towards the carpet. This is going to limit the amount of reflections that the microphone is capturing, and it also allows me to kind of face upwards when I'm singing, so it's going to like allow me to open up my lungs and really project my voice better. And on top of that, it also has the double benefit of me being able to look upwards or downwards depending on how loud my vocal lines are. You may have heard the advice that you want to back up away from the mic in certain sections of your take where you get louder. You can do this, but it's going to adjust the frequency range that the microphone is capturing. Whereas if you were to stay the same distance from the mic and either look upwards during the quiet parts or downwards during the louder parts, that frequency range that the mic is capturing is going to be the same. The only thing that's going to really change is the volume. And of course, this is just going to limit the amount of compression that you have to do in post, which is, of course, going to improve the quality of your take. So this part's really personalized. I can't give you a one-size-fits-all mic positioning. This is the technique that I use, but what you come up with is going to be dependent on the room that you are in. Just try to find like the shittiest area of the room sonically and face the back of the mic towards there. If you do that, you're probably going to be heading in a good direction. So those are all of my tips to try to optimize your recording techniques for the room that you are in and for the equipment that you're working with. We may not all be able to afford expensive studio time and professional recordings, but hey, we're gonna make it work, you know what I mean? We gotta be flexible, we gotta work with what we got, and we have to try to get the best recording takes possible for our music. So yeah, I hope you guys really got some value out of this one. Super fun video to make. Leave a like if you would like, and I will catch you next time. Fool.